If it rains, you could use an umbrella. If you don't have an umbrella, you should dance in the rain. These are examples of how modal verbs can be used in conditional sentences. In this video, we deepen our understanding of the conditionals and learn how to use modal verbs to express different things. This will all make more sense if you already understand conditionals. So, if you want to learn the basics or want a quick refresh, check out my conditionals series. Firstly, let's quickly remind ourselves what each modal verb means, starting with will and would. Will is often used to express that an action is certain or very likely to happen. For example, there will be a storm soon. Would can be used in different ways, but in conditionals it's used to describe a hypothetical situation. If I were you, I would take an umbrella. To express possibility, we can use the modal verbs might, may, or could. For example, it might be windy at the top of the mountain. There may be a rope to hold on to. It could be dangerous. Next, we have must, which expresses obligation. You must stop at the red light. We also have should, which expresses a recommendation. You should not cross the road if cars are passing. We have can, which expresses ability. In the UK, you can drive a car when you are 17 years old. And we have could, which indicates ability in the past. The Tyrannosaurus Rex could live up to 30 years old. Okay, now let's look at modal verbs in conditional sentences. Look at these two examples. If a plant looks dry, you water it. If a plant looks dry, you should water it. These are both zero conditional sentences. This example is stating a general truth, but this example uses should to express a recommendation. Here's another comparison. When I get hungry, I get grumpy. When I get hungry, I can get grumpy. Again, these are both examples of the zero conditional. The first example states a general truth, but the second example uses can to express that getting grumpy is a possibility, but not necessarily a certainty. Look at these two examples. If you like historic drama, you should watch Vikings. If you like historic drama, you must watch Vikings. In the first example, we use should to make a suggestion, but in the second example, we use must, which expresses a very strong recommendation or an obligation. Let's look at some examples in the first conditional. If you work hard, you will get a promotion. If you work hard, you might get a promotion. If you earn more money, you can go to the Maldives next summer. These are all examples of the first conditional, but the first example expresses certainty by using will. The second example expresses possibility by using might, and the third example expresses ability using can. Because if you earn more money, you have the ability to pay for a holiday to the Maldives. To make these sentences, we simply replace will with the modal verb. Now let's look at some examples with the second conditional. If you could go back in time, what year would you go to? If I could go back in time, I would go to the year 1500. If I could go back in time, I might go to the year 1800. If I went to the 1500s, I could be an explorer. In the first example, we have a standard second conditional with would. He's sure that in this situation, he'd go to the year 1500. In the second example, we have the modal verb might, which expresses possibility. He's not sure what year he would go to, so he uses might. And in the third example, we have could, which expresses the possibility or ability to have become an explorer. To make the sentence, we simply replace would with a modal verb. Okay, now some examples with the third conditional. If there had never been a pandemic, what would you have done differently? If there had never been a pandemic, I could have moved to Egypt and become a scuba diving instructor. If you had moved to Egypt, what would have happened to English animated? If I had moved to Egypt, English animated might not have been created. In this example, we use could to express ability. And in this example, we use might to express possibility. Like with the second conditional, to make the sentence, all we do is replace would with a modal verb. So, we've learnt a few different ways to use modal verbs in conditionals, but you're probably wondering which modal verbs can be used with which conditional. So here's a table to help you. There are exceptions to the rule, but this is a good basic guide. So let's practice. Using the table, try and answer the questions below with a conditional and a modal verb. Post your responses in the comments and I'll help you if they need correcting.